cold. He's a bully. He's slow. He has no skill, no footwork. He's awkward. And I have been giving him a name. Because he fights. When he's fighting, if you ever watch him in the ring, he drags like that after his opponent. and how's the mummy gonna catch me?
And all I had to do was to go out and beat a man who had no skill, no class. Seriously, the man had no skill. I don't know why the world is so foolish to believe in him and think that I wasn't going to win.
Well, when you say you're ready to go to war right now...
I see that barrel in the street, I'll beat him before the fight.
You'd actually take him on before the fight?
Beat him like I'm his daddy. Basketball players out there, football players, they want to beat so bad, they want to get everybody. I'll go to Mars, I don't care.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, let's get ready to rumble!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lights Out Debates, where we dare to debate. First off, before we get into this debate between the 96 Bulls and the 2001 Lakers, who's greater? Let's say welcome to Travis. How are you today, sir?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. And we have King's Speech Row here from the 10 Toes Down podcast, who's going to be judging this. How are you today?
Doing well. Having a good, beautiful morning for us. Afternoon here now. So I know it's early for you guys.
Fantastic. So I think I went first, or you went first last time, so that means I go first this time. Yeah. So, King's Speech Row, I'm going to put you in the bag. If you can judge this 3-round contest of 3 minutes to the best of your ability and give us your results, your judgment of who won this fine debate, please do so after it concludes. Do you have any questions, King Row?
Yeah, just this was 3 minutes, 3 rounds, and just really any type of format, like first round is for this, second round for that, or just 3 rounds. You're gonna make arguments. Okay, cool. I'm ready. I'll go take my notes.
All righty. We will see you on the end of this. All right. We've got the timer up. Do you have anything first off, let's get this out of the way. Now, I think that the 96 Bulls just have so much more of a convicted case over the 2001 Lakers. I think really across almost any measurement that in respect to what they accomplished during this time, that the 96 Bulls have a convincing case over the 2001 Lakers to be a greater team. And I think this debate, how I present it, will reflect that convincingly.
And I obviously disagree. I think that the 01 Lakers have an amazing case to be not only just the better or over the 96 Bulls, but the greatest team of all time in almost every respect other than just regular season win record, which I don't think is indicative of how great a team is, honestly. And so I think that the points I'll bring today will highlight that, and then we'll go from there.
All right. Without further ado, let's get this debate started. Thanks again, Travis, for another fantastic debate with the 96 Bulls and the 2001 Lakers. I'm going to define how the 96 Bulls are greater than the 2001 Lakers by the term greatness. It's defined as the ability, quality, or eminence considerably above the normal or average. And all of these aspects in between the 96 Bulls has more convictive evidence than the 2001 Lakers due to its dominance during its run, which means to be commanding, controlling, or prevailing over all others. Dominance is the easiest way to distinguish all-time greats against each other throughout time because of variations of rules teams played and other factors. It's not a time machine basketball game. However, I think the Bulls probably pull this one off. But this is about what team is greater across all time in consideration of NBA history. To start, the 96 Bulls had greater ability than the 01 Lakers. Ability meaning the talent, skill, or proficiency in a particular area. It's dominated heads up by the 96 Bulls with few exceptions. This is centered around the 96 Bulls team's statistical output. For regular season stats per game, the 96 Bulls outproduced the 01 Lakers in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and three-pointers made, with the most notable difference being points per game with 105 to 0.2 to 100.6. Additionally, they were more efficient than the Lakers in field goal percentage, three-point percentage, and free throw percentage, with a 6% difference in both free throws and three-pointers. And for the playoffs, they outproduced the Lakers in points and steals and were more efficient in free throws by 6% as well. For individual team leaders in the regular season, the Bulls outproduced the Lakers in every stat except for blocks. For individual team leaders in the playoffs, the Bulls outproduced the Lakers in points and steals. For both the regular season and playoff individual per game stats combined, the Bulls outproduced the Lakers in total with 6-4 in individual production. Additionally, there were two statistical title winners in 96 for the Bulls, where the Lakers had 0. Michael Jordan won the scoring title, and Dennis Rodman won the rebounding title. This is one of few cases where multiple people on the same team won a statistical title and a championship in the same season. With all of this, also, one of the things that's fantastic is that the 96 Bulls went on an 18-game winning streak, and compared to the Lakers, which was not nearly as close to that. And I'll get into it, they only won 8 in a row, which is still fantastic. But the 96 Bulls had greater ability than the 2001 Lakers.
Okay, and like my opponent said here at the beginning before he started, really, this isn't time machine basketball, and really, comparing two teams and, in different seasons, just their outputs, especially when they're different decades, is kind of, it's a little bit hard to muster and hard to actually. It doesn't really tell any kind of a story, especially when you're comparing them all the time. What really matters is the results and how that happened, and really how they finished the season, especially, and what he's read about is how they compared to their contemporaries and how they really showed up, and also the level that their contemporaries were at. That's what really matters, and who you were dominating and how. So just some basic numbers for those Lakers teams. As you're probably aware, obviously 56 games, not too chubby, but that's not really what they hang their hat on that season, okay? They did win their final 8 regular season games to close out the season. They then went 15-1 in the postseason, posting a 0.938 win percentage, which at the time was the best in league history. It's still second best, all right, next to the 2017 Warriors. Shaq and Kobe both finished top 10 in MVP voting, and also they both made the All-NBA and All-Defensive team, okay? A feat that hasn't been replicated since. Okay? Now, their average margin of victory, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, okay, was nearly 13 points per game. That was good for 4th all-time in the postseason. So the 96 Bulls aren't even top 5 in this regard. So you don't want to talk about dominance. And also, we're not going to dog on eras or anything like that, because I think that's disingenuous, especially when you're trying to rank as you beat who's in front of you, right? But a little context never hurts. Okay, anywhere between 12 to 15 to 18 wins of those every single year from 92 onward for the Bulls. The season was coming from expansion teams. Okay, teams that had poor rosters that were decimated by in-league drafts, things like that. Obviously, you, like I said before, you beat who's in front of you. But again, just to tout the record and the points against those as being better than another team who, and I'll go into this, who beat substantially better competition, again, and much more convincingly, is disingenuous. Okay, so like I said, the Bulls aren't even top 5 in this regard as far as average margin of victory in the playoffs. The Lakers are all time. Okay, the winning percentage mark has since been replicated and technically surpassed, right, by the 2017 Warriors, as I mentioned, who were 16-1 due to the extra game being added to the first round. But again, why do so many people still consider the 0-1 Lakers the greater playoff team and greatest team in general all time? Okay, well, like I said before, it's really about who they beat and how, and I'll go into that in this round.
You talked about eras. This was a 5-year difference between these two teams. I would hardly call it a separate era. If anything, they overlapped. It's not just about how they finished the season. It's about the entire season. It's about the entire year and that team. And then I'm going to describe how they showed up in, you say how the Lakers did. And I'm going to talk about the quality of the Bulls' opponents. And then awards, you talked about some fantastic awards the 0-1 Lakers got, but I'm going to talk later on about how the 96 Bulls had considerably more impressive awards or more awards. And then you talked about how there was better competition. I'll explain how there wasn't in comparison to the time. So the 96 Bulls was a better quality team than the 0-1 Lakers, qualities that agree to which an object or entity satisfies the specified set of attributes or requirement. This is largely defined of the success of a team and how it's compared against its contemporaries through advanced stats. So the 96 Bulls regular season win percentage was 87.8%, where they went 72-10. The Lakers had a 68.3% win percentage with 56-26 as their record, or excuse me, 50. Sorry, that second number got me confused about the difference between the losses, about the drastic difference. The 96 Bulls playoff win percentage in the NBA was 83%, going 15-3. The Lakers, 0-1 Lakers playoff win percentage was higher, but when combining wins and win percentage over the totality of the season, the Bulls had a total 87-13 and 87% win percentage to the Lakers' 71 wins and 27 losses at 72%, a significant difference, and actually the greatest amount of wins in totality in the NBA history. Additionally, the Bulls went on an 18-game winning, or I talked about the 18-game winning streak. The Bulls led their conference in comparison to the Lakers, where they came in second in their conference versus the Bulls coming in first. The Bulls led the league in offensive rating, defensive rating, net rating, points per game, while being third in opponents' point per game. In comparison, the Lakers were second in offensive rating, 21st in defensive rating, 8th in net rating, 3rd in points per game, and 23rd in opponents' point per game. And then for the simple rating system and accounting average of point differential and strength of schedule, the Bulls were first in the league in comparison to the 0-1 Lakers being 6th. As a note, the Bulls have the second highest SRS of all time behind the 71 Bucks. It's a fantastic feat. For their postseason run, the Bulls faced off against a 64-win team and a 60-win team, where the Lakers didn't face any 60-win teams. In totality, the 96 Bulls were a more quality team than the 0-1 Lakers.
2, 1.
And we're going to go into this a little bit. Like I said, my opponent was briefly touching on this, but like I said, he's really just going on about how they were in comparison to a substantially weaker league. And like I said, between the Bulls faced, the 96 Bulls, and just to touch on them, I'm not going to harp too much on that team. I'm going to focus on the Lakers. But the 96 Bulls faced 8 expansion teams that year, okay, or teams that had come in since 1992. And 16 wins came off of those teams, okay? And like I said, the win differential between them was 14 games. So, I mean, you're talking about their dominance versus teams that were, and like he said, they did beat 261 teams, but also two teams that didn't even crack 50 wins. They were 42 and 47. Okay, so let's go into what the Lakers actually accomplished as a team, which is substantially more impressive. Okay, so for starters, They beat the 50-win Trailblazers with again, they had Scottie Pippen, guys like Rasheed Wallace, Bonzi Wells, T. Smith, Damon Stoudemire, Sean Kemp, and Rod Strickland. 2 90s legends were coming off of the bench. Okay? That team was top 10 in both offensive and defensive rating. The 55-win Kings were up next with Chris Webber, Bobby Jackson, Jason Williams, Doug Christie, Paige Stojakovic, Vladiva, etc. The league's best offense by far, and a top 10 defense. Next up, and perhaps most impressive, was the 58-win Spurs. Okay, the league's best record. Okay, with Derek Anderson, Antonio Daniels, Sean Elliott, Steve Kerr, as well as Tim Duncan and David Robinson, who both finished top 10 in DPOY and MVP that year. Okay, so just the 7th time that feat had ever been accomplished, where 2 teammates finished top 10 in both regards. Duncan was runner-up in MVP and DPOY and 3rd in DPOY, just for context. So they were a dominant team. They were heavy favorites going in. Okay, the Spurs, again, this is prime Duncan. Again, far better than anyone the Bulls faced. That team alone. Again, we're not even going to get into the roster depth, but just the players alone, this name value. Again, if you want to talk quality ones. And then they up next were the 56-win Sixers with MVP Allen Iverson, DPOY Mutombo, Coach of the Year Larry Brown, 6th Man of the Year Aaron McKee. The only time a team has accomplished these 3 feats in NBA history. Okay, and just for good measure, the roster had guys like Theo Ratliff, who finished also top 10 DPOI voting. The Lakers swept all these guys and only lost 1 game, again, to the reigning MVP. Okay, the Lakers also became just the 2nd team ever up until that point to beat at least 4 50-plus win teams in the playoffs on the way to a title. Okay, joining the 94 Rockets. And again, they did this at nearly 13 points per game average. Dominant.
All right, so there were 29 teams for both of these teams of who their competition was in the league of the NBA at the time. And again, it's a 5-year difference. So what's the tangible equation for when the expansion died off about it leveling out, if it ever has? The 96 Bulls were just better than everyone else with the quality numbers, the advanced stats I described, and then just the differentials. So you're describing about how the Lakers weren't as good as their contemporaries during the season that they played. My guys were just better than everyone else. The Bulls faced off, you're talking about playoffs, who they faced off against. I already described how they faced off against more top-heavy teams. And just to drop some names, Shaq and Penny with this, who they swept, which was a 60-plus win team, and then the Defensive Player of the Year, Gary Payton and Sean Kemp on the Seattle Supersonics. But I want to say that the 96 Bulls were more eminent than the 01 Lakers. Eminence meaning a position of prominence or superiority. It applies to the 96 Bulls with its players on courts awards won, its reputation, and its contributions to the game of basketball. These awards are largely referenced to include intangibles and prominence in the NBA versus their contemporaries and are largely considered a viable metric in sports debate due to this. Firstly, for individual awards and honors, the 96 Bulls are awarded or honored with 9 awards compared to the 01 Lakers 5. Michael Jordan won the season MVP, finals MVP, all NBA first team, and all NBA defensive team. Scottie Pippen won all NBA first team and first team all NBA defense as well. Dennis Rodman won first team all defense. Tony Kukoc won 6th Man of the Year, and Phil Jackson won Coach of the Year. And then also Michael Jordan won All-Star Game MVP, and let alone him and Scottie Pippen being All-Stars. The 01 Lakers had Shaq winning the Finals MVP, the first team All-NBA and second team All-Defense. You described some of this, but I'm going to reiterate it. Kobe Bryant won the All-NBA second team and All-NBA All-Defense second teams that year. So for attendance, which I think is marketably talking about their eminence during their time. So the 96 Bulls had an attendance throughout their year of 969,149 people that wanted to see that team play, ranking second for that year for the home game attendance. The 2001 Lakers had only 776,336 people show up. That's ranking 8th of 29 for that year. So how much eminence and how much of a reputation did that team have when they're barely in the top third of the league in respect to the attendance? And that's a 200,000 person difference And that's the difference between Chicago and Los Angeles.
2, 1.
So just to summarize up, my opponent's just reading off definitions in the dictionary, but doesn't really apply to what actually happened on the court. And again, when you were talking about that, we're not interested in paraphrases or anything like that. We're interested in what happened on the court and the actual results. Okay, we're not going to sit there and bust out Webster's when we're talking about who did what, and especially when you're talking about the competition. Okay, and the eminence is beating teams that again stack up and that were just as good as you, or teams that if you're not favored, or if you're favored, but again, how well do you do when it's done? Okay, the Bulls, like we just actually covered, the Bulls didn't have anywhere near their record as far as the playoff dominance. They didn't beat their opponents as convincingly. They didn't face nearly the level of competition as far as not only what their opponents were as far as league rankings, points per game, defensive, anything like that. The Lakers did. They went through a gauntlet. And like I said, they were just the fourth or the second team ever, right, to go through 50-plus win teams. Again, joining like the 94 Rockets. Now, also a couple things like for all these reasons, the Lakers check every box when you're looking at just actual greatness. Okay, the Lakers, they went through arguably the toughest playoffs in NBA history. Okay, that's just by the numbers, by the rosters, whatever you want to measure it. Obviously, there's some level of subjectivity there, but when you're talking about who beat the best and who did it so more convincingly on their way to a chip and in ways that have never been done before. Okay, the 15-1, the winning percentage, the teammates who were winning awards while doing that. And the Lakers stand alone. Shaq and Kobe have the highest again points per game combination of any two players during a single playoff run in NBA history for that year. Okay, at 29 and 30. And again, the runner-up was Wilt and Paul Arizin in 62. Okay, when you factor in all the dominance, the competition we discussed, they also edge out the Rockets because, the Rockets did the 50-plus win teams also, but they got taken to 7 games twice. The Lakers never even sniffed that. Okay, they elevated the level of play in the playoffs to a place that's never been seen before. That's greatness. Okay, not just a rigid definition. That's greatness. When you beat the best, you become the best, and you do so more convincingly than we've ever seen before. Okay, and again, when we're talking about all the things considered, believe the Lakers actually clear not just the 96 Bulls, but everyone else. 96 Bulls were impressive. The regular season agenda, some of the players were winning some of the awards. But when you look at overall performance, especially when it counts in the playoffs, the Lakers, again, clear these Bulls. It's really not even close, especially when you're looking at just, again, the production from the team overall. And, again, especially who they were competing against and who they beat.
1.
I hear you, good sir.
Oh, Dart, you muted.
Oh, no. Okay. All right. So I was going to say this is a fantastic debate and bringing King Speech Row from the 10 Toes podcast up. But, Travis, how do you think you did in this debate?
I like some of the points I brought up. I mean, this team is easy to debate for because of especially what they accomplished. I mean, mainly the playoffs, but I thought I was able to highlight a lot of that dominance well, especially when you consider the most important factor, I think, which is who they played against, which I think factors into all-time discussions.
For me, I think I holistically described how the 96 Bulls were greater than the Lakers. Obviously, each team will have some edges over each other. I think I did a good job of providing the breadth of what the 96 Bulls were able to accomplish in comparison to the 2001 Lakers. But you know who it really matters, what their opinion is or their judgment of this case is? It's King Speech Row right here, sir. Can you tell us how you think this debate went first, and then tell us who won and why?
Okay, so I think this debate went really good. I think you guys you did a good job of laying out the dominance of each team, right? And I think both teams were dominant in different ways. Both teams were dominant when they had especially when being that they were both that had dominant playoff runs, and in the Bulls' case, a dominant regular season. You got to establish why and the level of dominance. So you work up a lot of good team stats, the rankings during the seasons and everything, and that was a great. So I think it was very evenly matched. I'm doing 10-9 rounds like boxing, and it was 20. It's going to be 29-28. All right, so I'm gonna get into the strengths of the first round. All right, so Dart, you came in, you established their greatness and dominance. You define greatness. You know you love to do that. I know that's your style. That's great. You came up with the playoff stats. You came up with the individual titles, the winning streak, which is when you talk about dominance. That's something I love to look at. The 18-game winning streak versus the 8-game winning streak by the Lakers. Now, Travis, he came in. Again, he agreed. And I like to see some people hate when debaters agree. I like that because it sets up. Yeah, this is not just about time machine basketball. So you establish. You pretty much established that. Okay, I'm not going to ignore the other team's greatness because I'm trying to debate why my team is greater. All right. So you brought up the 8. You brought up the fact that the 8 games actually closed out the season, right? The 8-game winning streak. They went from 48 and 26 to go 50. So they closed out the playoff, the regular season strong. What you should have done, and I don't think you lost this round, you should have established in the 11 games to start the playoffs. Put that 19 over the 18. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, but you should have established that playoff streak scoring 11-0. Now, what you did do, you brought up the fact that the All NBA and All Defensive team by 2 different players, hasn't been accomplished by. I think that's the only time it happened. And then you brought up the fact there was a 13.4 playoff differential, which is the 4th highest. The Bulls not being. You came up with the extension argument, but I think the Dart did a better job of laying out just why the Bulls were dominant overall, right? So really close round. I'm gonna give Dart the first one 10-9. All right, now the second round. You came up with a very good counterpoint to say that this is roughly the same era. It's only a 5-year difference. You got into the awards. You got into the winning percentage. Again, that's the overall layout, right? Now, you established that the Lakers were a second seed. You established that they did play against 260-win teams in the finals and conference finals. That was a good point. Travis, he attacked the weaknesses of the competition, like saying there were a lot of bad teams, the expansion teams since the late 80s, and then he did a really good job of establishing the playoff competition, and he named names. He established why the 450 win teams they played were great. He named the guys who were on that team. He laid out the rosters. Again, they beat the MVP, the reigning MVP, in the finals in 5 games, which again establishing your competition. That's great. I think because I gave that round to Travis because he laid out the competition a little bit better. And all right, so 10-9. So we're even at this point. So now we get into round 3. Dart came back and knocked down the expansion, which I think Travis kind of flubbed on it. The expansion team era, because as he said, like you're talking about, a lot of these teams were in the league for a while. There were 2 expansion teams that particular season, but so he knocked it down a little bit. Then he got back into reestablishing the dominance of the Bulls. He said that they had 9 awards, individual awards, against the 5 Lakers. Here's what I think Dart's strong suit. He pretty much he established more of the Lakers. Of the Bulls than Travis did of the Lakers. If I'm looking at it based on Travis's whole debate, I only know, if I don't know anything about the Lakers, all I know is Kobe and Shaq. I think both of you guys should have laid out more of who was actually on the team, like the role players and what now. Again, he named Rodman and he named Kukoc. Kukoc being the 6th man of the year, I think, established the fact that the Bulls had a good bench. I don't know who came off the Lakers bench as far as Travis's debate. I don't know who was their strong 3-point shooter. Say again?
No one. They didn't have a bench. No one came off.
Yeah, and I guess maybe you were sticking away from a weakness, but then that's the problem. And again, you did a good job in the third round of showing how they elevated their level of play, and in the postseason dominance. But again, you had a good opportunity to rebut some of Dart's claims, and really lay out again. Yeah, the fact that they had no bench, and I guess you stayed away from that. But even then, a team that dominant had to have something like. They had to have something strong. And again, all I know is Shaq and Kobe. I at least know 6 or 7 guys based on Dart's claim. So I'm going to give Dart the third round in debate, 10-9. Again, it was, tough debate. I think Travis, you missed out on some points. They could have knocked down, knocked down some of the things Dart said, but Dart will win this debate by 2 rounds to 1. Really close to
speech.
Yeah.
Thank you, King's Speech. Even though I was only reading out of Webster's dictionary.
Well, yeah, that's a trademark, that's a style, because then it sets up the rest of what you're gonna say, right? Hey, dominance, there's greatness, define it, and now everything I'm saying is going to point to that, and you do that. Again, when it comes to these teams, though, this is my personal style. I want to get the fabric of the team. You know what I'm saying? Again, I really got to go back and look up myself now. Who outside of Kobe and Shaq, because I think that's one of the errors a lot of people do. They try to act like these are 2-on-2. Look, they played NBA Jam 2-on-2. They don't play NBA basketball 2-on-2. So again, who's my 6th man? The coaches were the same. You know what you could have done, Travis? You could have established that Phil Jackson now was a better coach in 01 than he was in 96. He's got a second style of, you know what I'm saying? You could have established the coaching advantage. The fact that Phil Jackson is now 5 years older, coaching a little bit different style, coaching an actual big man. You could establish the big man, dominance. Again, I know it's not a head-to-head thing, but you could establish the fact that Phil Jackson is showing that, hey, I got another type of roster. It's not exactly like the Bulls of the 90s. And then, I'm still showing that I can dominate, with my style of coaching. So, yeah, I would have liked to hear more about the particular teams as well. More of the fabric of those teams. Again, I'll put it this way. Randy Brown. It's funny. Gilbert Arenas got famously upset that Michael Jordan compared Randy Brown to him. Well, Randy Brown was very important to those Bulls because he was probably the quickest guard on that team. And if they needed a quick guard in there for some reason, Randy Brown would have filled that role, So I do like the, fabric to certain teams. Again, you could have brought up Kerr. Again, I wanted to, I think they had a good, what's the guard that came off the bench? They had a guard, the 3-point shooting Euro guard, Travis.
For the 01 Lakers, wasn't.
Vucevic? No, I'm sorry, the name was so familiar.
Vucevic was 09, right? For the Lakers.
No, yeah, not Vucevic. It's not Vucevic. Sacha? No, okay.
No.
01.
In 01, it was oh god, what's that guy's name?
Medvedenko?
Medvedenko, yeah. See again, because Medvedenko and then Ori. I mean, like I
No.
think that was a big key to them too, right?
I mean, they had Brian Shaw, they had Isaiah
Yeah.
Ryder, Tyronn Lue,
Yeah,
Stanislav Medvedenko.
Yeah, and the fact that outside of the triangle, these guys made their timely shots. That was one of the things. That's more of the fabric of why. And I want to hear the fabric of why these teams were dominant. You know, because again, 16-1 in the playoffs. I wanted to hear why. Why did they step up? What happened? And again, you did a better job of establishing.
I wanted to do
who they played.
that. We only have 3 goddamn minutes, Ro.
I know, but at least mention, hey, I got big, outside of Kobe and Shaq, I got big shots from these guys. You know what I'm saying? Because that was one. And again, they didn't really need too many big shots because they dominated. But again, that was one of those things. Like they knocked people out.
I was about to go into like the Spurs series because and I was going to highlight some of the stuff that like Fisher and Brian Shaw did. Because they played huge basketball. Also during like the Portland series, I was going to go into that too, but it's just like
I know
you gotta
that would have impressed me, and I know that.
You gotta pick your shots.
That would impress me, and I know that. Yeah, no, I got you. But that was a good way of establishing dominance. They took the number 1 seed overall, and they beat them by an average of 103 to 82. Right? I know that just on my prior research. But if you mention that, now I can use it because that establishes more dominance, especially the strongest part of the season, the most important part of the season, probably the best team that they played overall. And to tell me that they dominated them in that way, especially right the closeout games were the most dominant. They won the last 2 games by I believe like average 30 points. So, it was a way to sway it into your favor. And that was a fact that I would have liked to hear at that point.
Aircraft carrier doesn't like your explanation.
He doesn't. It's okay. Yeah. See again, as the CEO. All right. Yeah, I get it, and that's what I'm saying. That's why it's the debaters' job to remind the judge. It's the debaters' job to remind the judge, and all I heard is Kobe and Shaq. Well, if it was Kobe and Shaq, it's they're not going to win with just Kobe and Shaq. The same way the Bulls are not going to win with just Jordan Pippen. Dart did a better job of explaining at least some of the surrounding cast, which again makes the fabric of a championship team and actually helps to establish the dominance.
King Ro, I want to know how you're going to defeat me next week because I've got the O at the end of mine in my loss category right now. A very hefty 1-0. How are you going to defeat me next week with the Patrick Ewing versus AD, who's better debate? How are you going to do it? Because I can't see any feasible way that you're going to defeat me.
Good. I'm glad. The overconfidence, and that's what did in Travis the last time. And especially when Lamar hit him with the 2-minute thing. Now I will say it intensified the debate. I sat there and did research for the first time. I did research, and I did I did do last minute research, but I did really really good research, and I was prepared for 5 minutes. Now at that point, you got to figure out, okay, which points, what are my strong points? Because I'm coming with that, and I'm coming with that only. That takes away the fluff out of the argument, right? And again, Lamont did say, okay, look, this is the rules, 1-2, establish your team, and in the third round, look for rebut what he said, to do a little bit of a rebuttal round. I think that's a good thing too, to rebut, knock down any of the weaknesses you heard. I do like his rule of if you say anything that's cap, call it out, because you can automatically get that round. If you say anything that's not true, you make a claim that's not true, we'll challenge it, we'll look it up. You can automatically get that round. I like that. I mean, again, Travis did flub up by what he said, and again, there's no challenge or anything. But I think Dart could have mentioned it. There weren't 8 expansion teams since '90s. Those followed, basically by '96, by '96, those 4 in the '80s, they were in the league for 9 years at that point. Now you had 2 brand new teams in '96, but there were 4 in the '90s. I mean, 4 in the late '80s. The other 2 were in the early so they're already like Mavericks. They're already a 15, 16-year franchise at that point. So they've had teams start, players start their career and retire by the time the '96 season happened. So, but yeah,
Aircraft carrier. You say that I have the old school debate values, but I'm low key conforming to the Nick Wright basketball style like Travis. I don't know what that means.
What?
Can you please explain? I don't even know what that means. Please
Travis,
explain it.
Travis is the fifth. He was hanging out with the GOAT.
If you'd like to call up, you can call up. I dropped the link. What were you saying, King?
All right. Yeah, and Travis is the fifth. He's been hanging out with the Go Jays Kingdom crew for a long time, so I'm sure some of their isms rubbed up on him.
Yeah.
But you asked me a question, and I went off on Travis. I'm sorry. I see similar overconfidence in you. I see similar overconfidence in you, and I think I don't think you give Patrick Ewing the proper respect. I think Rex tried to really explain Ewing. Again, as he said, you're a Jordan GOAT guy. The biggest threat, and especially in the East, especially in the East, to Michael Jordan's dominance in that run were the Knicks, and that's not even close. It's not even close. No one else was close in threatening. And I don't care that the '95 Magic beat a rusty Jordan. We all know that Jordan was rusty, and on top of that, they took the third best player off the three-peat. The Knicks were the biggest threat to the Bulls' dominance. And Patrick Ewing, without another Hall of Fame player, without even a real all-star. I mean, you want to tell me, okay, well, he didn't play Jordan in '94 when Oakley and Starks made the all-star team. Without even a consistent all-star, was that every year. And even Jordan himself admitted the Knicks were coming for us. So, yeah, I mean, that's going to be and I'm going to really remind you who Patrick Ewing was, because when it comes to Anthony Davis, great player. But yeah, we're gonna put some holes in that.
That's a good idea, actually. Well, I mean, what I'm thinking is that we could, since start one today, like we could do like you go until you lose, right? Like and then like the king or whatever, the kingdom. I don't know, kicking him out. No, okay.
I think it's a good idea, but I'm gonna be on the throne for a while. Then you know what I mean.
You see this? Yeah.
See, I mean the actual. It's funny because it's like the Knicks were no threat. Again, Michael Jordan said it. Michael Jordan said, especially the '97 team.
We got to get interaction with people to pick topics for us, right?
Of course.
So we get layups like the '96 Bulls, things like that. So we need that.
As you know, as Lamont remind you, I'm a very big critic of the '96 Bulls. Like and again, they were obviously a top 10 all-time team, but I do think there were other teams better than them. Again, that when Dart brings up the 18-game winning streak, I love winning streaks. Right, this is why I think the '72 Lakers are arguably my GOAT team. That 33-game winning streak. Again, when you're playing Kareem multiple times, you have a three, and I think they beat Kareem twice during that winning streak, but still, you're playing Kareem and his Bucks. You're playing, the Celtics still had a good team there. The Knicks. When you win 33 games in that league, that's pretty something special. And again, that's the greatest team winning streak in American professional sports. They only have been approached by the 13 LeBron Heat team. They got to 27. You know what I'm saying? But they got to 27 against much worse competition. Only 8 teams out of 27 that they beat in a row.
Teams that were losing that many in a row.
Say again?
There were teams that were losing that many in a row.
No, well, I mean, well, damn, you got what are the one of those bad Sixers teams that were tanking, the process teams? The Hornets, one of them Hornets teams.
Didn't the Pistons do that a couple years?
Be a fun debate. Who's the worst team of all time?
Woo! Yes. Yes.
I'm all for that. Please, let's do that.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. For someone,
We're getting ready for the next debate. So is that going to be Sunday or the next debate there, or like a? Oh no, because we're doing the 2K thing Saturday, right?
We're doing the 2K thing Saturday at noon Eastern, and then Sunday.
That's in your top slot with Rex, right?
Yeah, and then this will be on Sunday. Maybe we could get because the King of the Hill kind of thing. If we can do more than one debate at a time, then it kind of you know what I mean. So, I mean, I like the idea. Maybe. I mean, we could figure it out. We could figure out shows even surrounding that. Maybe, I don't know. We can work on it, but I think it just like, let's say I win every time, you know, then I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but it will. No, it if it's just us three, then we never see you two debate, and then it just kind of takes it away, or we got to wait some time for it to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we could do for sure. Like we could do just like we just need like more, you know, because like we'll just do a better job of. I think we can reach out and get these people as you know as we get more interaction, and like we'll get CW and Row up here, or we'll just go from there and like get you know more people in to challenge each other, things like that, and I think it'll naturally start snowballing, take care of itself probably. So for sure.
Yeah, we got to get. Hopefully, Nick will show up soon.
Yeah, get Nick in here. And Rex said he was going to come back and debate. Oh, can't wait.
Yeah, but see, you know, Rex is gonna want some concessions. He's gonna want because, you know, again, there's a lot of common like narratives that's out there that Rex likes to defeat, and people still believe it anyway. You know.
Well, hey, it's I mean, obviously with the debate, it's just really, it's not what you know or what you think you know. It's obviously it's just you're trying to convince certain people.
Yeah.
Yourself. And I would have loved if CW was up here too, but you know, well, that's one thing we'll try to beat. We'll try to get like more judges next time for sure. And
we'll obviously, we could at least have two. You would at least have two. Yeah.
And Aircraft Carrier, I disagree. Like, he's a good historian, but we'll see about the debates. I mean, he's a great debater too, but well, you know. As I
look over that 01 roster again, all I knew was Shaq and Kobe was on that team. I didn't need to tell me what Fisher brought, Fox, Ron Harper. I mean, you got basically three guys.
No, I mean, I probably could have done a little bit better job of highlighting the roster, but to me, it was I put my chips more into what they. I could have broken down the roster a little bit, but to me, it just like I wanted
just a little bit. Just mention of you know what? It's the fact that you would have mentioned in Horace Grant, a veteran of Phil's system, and Harper, another veteran
Ron Harper.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I really forgot. Honestly, right, a lot of people don't know year to year who was on those Lakers team, right? So, Grant, that was the year Grant and Harper came in there, right? And
Isaiah Ryder, the GOAT.
Yeah, Isaiah Ryder was like a reclamation. Again, you talk about a guy who had a higher vertical leap than Jordan. I understand probably at that point he wasn't the same player. But again, him being a role player, you could have established that the Lakers, because the Lakers did have a better bench than when you look at it, when I start to look at those names, the Lakers had a better bench. But Dart mentioned.
Well, I'm going to vote against you next week just because.
Yeah, I mean, but Dart mentioning Kukoc being the sixth man. You understand what I'm saying? Like right off the bat, now I think that the Bulls have a better bench. So when you talk about dominance of a team, a lot of people seem to think it's just two guys. No, it's a lot more. But the fact that Dart mentioned Kukoc winning sixth man of the year right off the bat tells me that the Bulls have a better bench. And again, you could have mentioned that Phil is 5 years older, more experienced, had won with a different type of team. He won with a different type of cast, even though he brought in some of his old school guys, the guys he won with before, But Yeah, that's how it is. Debating these teams are not easy. There's a lot of information you got to get in a short amount of time. But yeah, again, fans think it's a 2-on-2 game. Scottie and Pippen versus Mike. No.
It is.
Okay, in NBA Jam. Yeah, I love to pick those guys in NBA Jam, but no, it's just 5-on-5 basketball. The bench matters. You got to see who's holding down. When they hack a Shaq and take Shaq out of the game, who comes in and like holds it down while Kobe and the rest of these guys?
Travis Knight.
Yeah, Travis Knight.
There we go. Holding count. So the Aircraft Carrier card says nobody's beating Rex. He's gonna smoke us. What do you think about that?
Well, Rex is 0-2, and it's like, but those are fan votes who can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we need 2-3 judges here, so there's not fan votes can't really be like, hey, that's fans or bots or whatever. But we'll work on that. But
are you saying my win doesn't count here today?
No, for sure counts. Dart is on the board. Dart is officially 1-0.
Are any flags on the play with my judging? Did I bring up fair points, or did I ask for too much, or yeah?
I thought
you asked for way too much.
I just wanted to know one guy.
No, your job is to do exactly what you did, which is to render a verdict and say why you voted that way. So
yeah,
I mean, if anything, it just gives me more ways to hone my debate style, so I can only get better.
And now next time I judge, and you got a team. Tell me who's on your bench. Tell me who's on your bench, and also tell me who's your coach. Somebody give both y'all did mention Phil Jackson, but you had a chance to say that this is a better version of Phil than Phil already has at this point 7 rings. With Dart, he only has 3.
Yeah.
At the time of the start of the season.
He was with Cheney Bus too, so that's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Who's Mr. Moss?
He's been on my show.
He wants Dart.
He's part of if you want to call it this, like the Ticket TV circle. Like him, Mr. Moss has debated with Chris Broussard and Travis versus Dart is like the Spider-Man meme. I think we debate completely differently. I think I have a based approach. I think I have a progressive based approach, and I have a deliberate attack per se. But then I also have, like, if it's boxing, I have counter punches just waiting. Like, I'm a counter puncher. Like, I pace the fight. I have the ring generalship. And then I have the counter punch. So I feel like I controlled the ring per se more, or I control the debate more. But then I also, my big punches is when I try to go and just with reason go and attack your claims. I think that's my game per se. I think
Dart you did throw a little more counter punches, and Travis missed out on a couple of opportunities to get some counters in there as well.
I think Travis is doing the Ali shuffle more so, and I'm kind of doing like the George Foreman, like the mummy. I'm like just deliberately coming after you, trying to hit you with big punches, and then throw an uppercut if you get a little too close. And, Travis is doing the Ali shuffle, and then.
It's funny as I sit there and look at the Lakers bench, man. You stayed away from it thinking it was a weakness. It was actually a strength when I look at these names.
I don't think it was a weakness. I just didn't I just chose not to really break it down, because then I would have had to kind of spend time. I feel like obviously now, I mean, with you, I feel like I should have went into it, but I think there's so much meat on the bone with that team. Oh, yeah. It's just like you really just gotta cover what they accomplished against you. I mean, in hindsight, I probably could have sprinkled a little bit in there, but that's for next time.
Yeah, see, anybody would have loved the fact that Big Shot Bob, who made probably roughly 1/6 of the Lakers' playoff 3-pointers. Wow. I mean, and look, there's another stat that I saw in the playoffs. In the playoffs, Derek Fisher made 51% of his threes. He made over 1/3 of the Lakers 3-point shooting at a 51% clip. That would have been a number that I would have loved to hurt because again, that establishes why the Lakers knocked every team out. I mean, you get a Derek Fisher playing off that triangle, playing off of Shaq and Kobe, knocking down more than 50% of his playoff threes. At 2 a game, especially considering that era was so much like 90s ball. That's a big key. If you can count on two Derek Fisher threes every game, and then Robert Horry.
Yeah, Fisher was amazing. Fisher's like one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for the debate next week. Hopefully, Travis, you and CW can figure out a debate. Hopefully, we get Nick in here to judge, amongst other people, potentially Hoop God. Mm-hmm. He goes to church, though, apparently. And I guess that's the reason why he's talking about not being able to come.
All right. I gotta knock down a lot of Ewanisms. I gotta lock down a lot. There's a lot of Ewanisms out there, and again, yeah. Pat,
we'll probably have that debate. We'll do 2 of those debates together, right, on Sunday.
Yes,
potentially.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Because they go pretty quickly. So,
how do you see this debate turning out, Travis? Who's going to win? Your prediction of who's going to win the AD versus Patrick Ewing debate?
So this is going to be a strange debate because it's who's better, right? You guys are doing. So it's like, to me, that's like you have to convince me because obviously it's wildly subjective, right? It's not just a little bit more objective. Like you can just pull a resume. This is going to be you have to get very nuanced, very expletive as far as examples, things like that. And this is where I think like a lot of things come in. I think it's going to be a great, fresh debate. I'm not going to give a prediction, but I think that I'm really anxious to hear it because this is I think I find more interesting because you have to really, really go beyond just what you see on a resume or what the teammates in this case probably don't even like things like that, how they affected their teams. And that's kind of what I like. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think they're 2 great players, very similar in a lot of ways, but I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And Aircraft is Dart versus King Rowe with that.
Yeah. What's your prediction, Aircraft Carrier? The Aircraft Carrier. Not just
the aircraft carrier. Yeah.
The Aircraft Carrier.
And then I'm going to message CW and we'll figure out a debate. Like he's a Spurs guy. He wants 2014 Spurs, he said, versus someone. So he said anyone. So
that's good to take the best. He obviously feels that's the most special team that he watches. For his team. Which again, considering they beat LeBron at the then record highest playoff finals. Again, that's something that I put in the negative column from LeBron. Again, they were not necessarily the favorites that year, but you playing with Bosh and Wade, and I understand Wade had a couple of injuries, the whole nine, but you are going for a three-peat as well, and you take the biggest loss at the time in NBA Finals history. That's and on top of that, that was a revenge tour, as we know. That was a revenge tour.
LeBron's still better than Magic Johnson, though.
We can have that debate as well. I already knocked you down on Shaq. That was light work. Shaq did it. Unfortunately, Shaq did it to himself, and I think I was able to establish that as well. LeBron didn't like that point, but the fact that Shaq peaked at the beginning and physically, his rebounding numbers were highest at the beginning of his career, and they regressed. That was But meanwhile, again, there was no fall off for Magic. It was, and we don't know if he didn't have to retire. I said if he didn't have to retire for medical reasons, we don't know if he would have. Again, he came back in '96, came off the bench, and the Lakers winning. The Lakers won 22 and of the 32 games he played, and his numbers were really damn good, and he was big as a house. You know, he was bigger than Carmelo when he came back in '96. So again, you know, Shaq fell off because of his lack of skill and lack of nutrition. You know,
he had a way longer prime than Magic Johnson.
Say again.
His prime was like he came into the league and like he stopped his prime arguably 05, right? 06. He still won a title. So what? 14-year prime. Magic played 10 years.
Magic was in his prime before he retired. He had to retire. Like he was still in his prime. He got second MVP.
Dart, at the time I had my theory.
It's not Shaq's fault that he wasn't out there banging hoochies in Los Angeles all day.
It is Shaq's fault that he was in there banging goddamn burger joints all that time in LA. I mean, Magic's problem was the woman.
3 straight Finals MVPs, the GOAT.
Yeah, you're right, but he still started to physically fall off, and we had to see that physical fall off.
Everyone does.
Yeah, I get it, but
LeBron.
Again, okay, wait a minute. So he got the three in a row, but Magic Magic as a 20-year-old came in there, got a Finals MVP. Now, all the controversy you want, that Magic breathed life into that Lakers team. They don't win that chip. They don't get to the finals without Magic. So you can say that was Kareem's team, but Magic came in there and re-energized that roster. Okay, don't believe me? When he missed all those games the next season.
It's just that when you drop a top 10 player of all time into like one of the best rosters all time, it's tough. I don't know. I just take exception to the fact that
that's the thing. They had a good but they had a good roster without. They had Norm Nixon. One like they had a YMCA point guard. They had Norm Nixon. They didn't get to the finals in 79. Now you bring in Magic, who brings, as I said, a skeleton key of winning. You could play him as shooting guard, small forward, wherever, and you could bring him off the bench. You could do so many things with Magic. You just put him out there on the floor, play with Norm Nixon, play with Coop, whatever. He became like a skeleton key. You can now unlock every door. On top of that, Kareem, who was just, I hate to say it, right? The Winning Time series show, he was kind of going through the motions. Oh yeah, I'm just, I'm dominant, but I'm not trying to really win championships. I'm not the one winning championship. Magic came in there and reinvigorated the Lakers franchise, and they dominated the entire '80s behind Magic. Again, not just Magic, but Magic came in there and showed. And he got the guy who wanted him to walk the ball up.
Is not the 4th best player of all time. Sorry, he's just not.
I mean, I can make an argument for him being the best player of all time. Again, he's my 5th. He's my 5th. And again, I tell you, my margin between 1 and 5 is like razor thin. And the only reason I will go certain guys the 4 guys I have over him is because of the longevity factors, things like that. But Magic, I could make a case for him being the GOAT. I could.
I mean, you could try it, but that case would be flimsy and terrible.
Again, the winning percentage. His worst team was 54-28, and he missed half that.
Right. I mean, we might have the debate sometime where you could try to make an argument where he's the GOAT.
Look.
And I'll argue why he's not.
If wins and losses matter to you, you just argued for a 56-win team over a 72-win team, right?
Right? The wins and losses, the wins and losses
I laughed
have a lot
on
of
mute.
context.
I laughed on mute. Sorry.
And Eric Curry, it's not Magic hate. I don't hate Magic, but you got people saying he's the GOAT. He's better than people whose resumes dwarf his, and they don't talk about. You hear all kinds of context, right? Like when you have 5 rings for Kobe, it's all about he had Shaq, but you got Kareem and Magic at 3 and 4 on Bleacher Report. Insane. Especially if you're going to be it doesn't matter who they played with, right?
You know what it is? It's because you guys listen to the Nick Wright-isms. Like I said, when they put you and Nick Wright in the same category, in the same sentence, it's because the without argument is the dumbest argument ever. the Mike 1 and 9. No, you don't do it as much, right? You don't. First of all, Mike, thank you, Uncut Hoops. You revealed that Mike is 2 and 9 without Scotty because Scotty missed a random game against the Sixers in the playoffs, and the Bulls came down from 14. Michael Jordan led a 14-point comeback in the fourth quarter. Scotty didn't play that game, so Jordan is 2 and 9 without Scotty. But it's a stupid argument. I'd rather know what you did with the help than what you did without the help. It doesn't. If you don't have help, we can assume that the best you can do is get to a second round. If you have the help and you dominate, then that's what I'm looking at. That's the greatness part of your career. So when you try to say, oh, well, Magic had Kareem right there, and again, that's why I debated you on on the one team that got to the finals when Kareem retired. I said, let me be fair, because I could have taken any of the teams. I could even took the one with old Kareem that beat the Pistons, right? The one that went back-to-back, the first team to go back-to-back in 20 years. But I said, I'm going to prove to you that a team without Kareem is better than the team that you like, in similar circumstances. Again, you got the judges to believe that 38-year-old Terry Porter was going to take my backcourt up. Meanwhile, Run TMC couldn't do the same thing. But, what can I do? What can I tell you?
I'm Clutch Media aircraft carrier? No.
Steve Travis.
Clutch Media.
I don't know how long you were hosting there on Go Chase Kingdom, but it's going to take a while to rub the.
Oh no, I got a lot of people that I gotta re-ingratiate myself to. I know. Or at least
look, I know the fact that you came up with the overall numbers, giving you, and I respect you giving LeBron the GOAT based on that. But yeah, there's just so much. It was just so much there. And again, I watched. I didn't watch last night because I was up there with you guys. But I don't even know if they did a show last night, to be honest. I know Lamont did a show about basketball IQ and all this nonsense, or whatever. But
wait, Dart has Magic Johnson like at 25th, right?
No, so I have a tangible list, but you can slide it. It's not a real list. It's just a tangible list. So the tangible list in respect to the potency of Magic Johnson, I have him 9th all time, and then he's 13th all time in total. Now that's tangibly. That's not influence. That's not a cultural impact. I think you can slide him all the way up to in top 5 just for what he did for the NBA. And I had him there without doing more tangible analysis. I had him at number 4 all time. So that's what I had him prior at.
See, I mean, and again, I had him as GOAT.
I have Magic Johnson at 8. I don't think that's like a slight, because like anyone, if you're top 10 all time, that means that you're the cream of the crop. You're the best players ever, and I don't think there's like this insane difference between like 10 and 1. I mean, as far as who you're drafting, but I just think the players I have above him. Never mind what you did, whatever. I don't knock players for who they played with. But I just think there's other players who have either better resumes or were more measurably impactful. But I don't think 8's a terrible spot for Magic Johnson.
Now, you remember the first – I don't know if you remember the first night I called, because y'all clipped it up. Actually, I clipped up the second time. But when I came up there and I said LeBron is number 8, and of course, Go James Keenan will go crazy when I call him my 8th best player, right? When I started listing my 5, and you said, "Who's your top 5?" and I put Magic in there, you said, "Take him out of there." I remember this. I have a memory of an elephant. You said, "Take him out of there," as if Magic
get him out of there.
Does not belong. It's like Magic is the weakest link. And again, Magic was my GOAT until Michael won in '98. Magic was my GOAT, and then I had to go back and then look more at Kareem. Wilt, Kareem's. Honestly, at some point, because I think Magic was the man on at least 3 of the 5 championships Kareem won with the Lakers. But again, I'm not going to take. Then I started looking more into Kareem's 70s dominance, the longevity. Okay, he's 4, he's 5, and it's really interchangeable. And I'm not going. See, the fact that people. This is the problem, because even your former employers are now doing this. They're making more money off of Kobe. You saw what their title was, right?
Oh
Kobe
yeah,
top five.
yeah. That is
See,
Kobe top 5. Why is that? Hold on. Why is that a? Because they don't. I know that for sure. Well, I think Brandon actually has Kobe top 5, and I respect that. But I personally have him 7.
I have him 7 as well.
What's the key? I mean,
I got Kobe.
I think really the only Jar has him at 4, which I think is great. But I mean, I think the
LeBron
the only controversial person I have in my top 5, I think, is Hakeem Olajuwon, because I have Bron, Mike, Kareem, Duncan, and Hakeem in my top 5.
See, and I'm not mad at you having Hakeem in your top 5, because I think he's the greatest defensive player I've ever seen.
I don't rank Wilt or Bill Russell because I think they're the de facto GOATs if they have access to the same stuff, right? Like the same awards. I think they're the GOATs.
But now you don't have a GOAT list. If you don't do Wilt and Russell, you don't have a GOAT list. You have a greatest since someone's greatest of the modern era. That's not a GOAT list. GOAT list means greatest of all time. And if we're already disqualifying errors, then you can't say greatest of all time. And that's cool. You understand what I'm saying? I can say greatest of the modern era. I told you guys a lot. If I look at the greatest that I've ever seen, the beginning of their career to the end of their career, when my GOAT is Kobe, my second is LeBron. I didn't see the beginning of Jordan's career. I was only 5. I wasn't paying attention to basketball. Now I can go back and I started watching Jordan in '88, so I can come in 4 years up. But the greatest, if I say start to finish, the greatest I've ever seen, well, since I started watching basketball in '88. And I've seen their whole careers. All in this is Kobe and LeBron. Even the Ewing I can't judge because I didn't start watching. Right?
Ro, what do you think?
Wait, hold on. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Derek.
Yeah, Ro, what do you think about this tangible list? This is just by the numbers. This is not particularly a
so influence and all that other stuff is not even considered.
Influence. This is just tangibly by the numbers. This top 10 list in order: Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Bill Russell, Tim Duncan, Bob Cousy, Hakeem Olajuwon, Magic Johnson. What is anything wrong with it?
Nothing is wrong with it. Again, I want to go back and look at some Cousy numbers, and I know again, I want to look at some Cousy numbers. How many MVPs does Cousy have?
He's got 1.
He's got one.
He's got 1. He's got 6 championships. He's got 10 first-team All-NBAs, 8 assist titles, and then he's got a couple All-Star Game MVPs and All-Star pretty much every year of his career.
Yeah, so that's
all happening every season together, practically.
Yeah, so that is a pretty good talking point again for him to win the one with. Did he win it with Bill or he won it before Bill?
Yeah,
he won it with Bill. Okay, that was even more impressive than if he just won it before Bill. I mean, if he'd had one, I will tell you this: if he would have had one with and one without, then not, But yeah, I have no. You do have Russell and Wilt in your top 10 as well, right?
I do.
So wait, you're correct here, though. It's not that I'm not ranking them; it's just that I'm saying I use a player's entire resume, right? Like you can say they're top 10 great based on stats and MVPs, right? But like. It's if I feel like if you do rank them because all these other players they're up there precisely because of other stuff you're ranking, right? Like impact, All NBA, All Star, a lot of these stuff that all defense, DPOYs, all these things that go into everyone's list is like things they didn't have access to. I just think it's unfair because if they did, they would be 1,000% 1A and 1B, right? Like we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Like Bill Russell would have probably like 6, 7, 8 DPOYs. I mean, you would have they would average probably a triple double for their careers as far as play, stuff like that. It would just be insanity.
But that's every player before 1983 or whenever the Defensive Player of the Year came out.
Yeah,
with that logic.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's fair, but I don't think anyone would else, even with that, would be in the discussion except for them, right? If you just look at the numbers. But
Kareem may have won a Defensive Player of the Year or 2.
Yes, that's true. He probably would have won a couple, honestly. Yeah.
Amongst others, Jerry West maybe.
Yeah, and that's
John
why. I mean,
Havlicek.
that's why when you judge the depoy, right? Obviously, knowing that it started in '83, and then even now, like for Moncrief to have won back to back at the beginning of the award, that's a pretty like that. Now I'm looking at Moncrief a lot differently. I'm putting him in my top 100 definitely, even though he had such a short career. Like he had basically 7 Hall of Fame seasons, and in 3 of them he was just hanging on, but he still was just a youthful player. Yeah, but he had what has become a big man's award for him to win back to back. That's something else.
Aircraft carrier, you got Dwayne Wade number 3. That's
See,
interesting.
that's the greatest we've ever. That's the greatest I've ever seen.
Well,
That's
it's not that he's
more
ever seen it
controversial than my
because he has
Bob Cousy
Kareem.
pick.
It's not that he's ever seen it. He has Bill up there.
He got
Well,
Bron at
Dwayne
10.
How is Dwayne Wade? I mean, whatever. I think Dwayne Wade's great. I think he's like the 3rd best shooting guard ever, potentially, or 4th. I mean,
Yeah, give me 3rd.
So Ro, I came up with 2 lists and I combined them both because
analytics. They didn't have analytics back then.
I think there's 2 ways you can look at the GOAT discussion. Who had the most potent career, and you just disregard who the total accumulation of it. So let me give you my most potent careers of all time. Michael Jordan number 1, Wilt number 2, Kareem number 3, Russell number 4, Kobe number 5, George Mikan number 6, Bob Cousy number 7, LeBron number 8, Magic number 9, and Giannis number 10. And then
where's Larry Bird at?
But behind them, Bird's like number 14 on that list.
Wow.
Yeah, for totals, it's Jordan number 1, Kareem number 2, LeBron number 3, Wilt number 4, Kobe number 5, Duncan number 6, Hakeem 7, Russell 8, Chris Paul number 9, and Shaq number 10.
Yeah, again, it's funny. I keep my GOAT list in my mind, right? So I got 10 criteria, 10 things that I really look at. I try not to think about rings and championships until I'm starting to break some of these ties, right? If I think 2 guys are like, I can't decide, that's when I will say, can you understand what I'm saying? I want the best player first. There are some great, as we know, the Robert Horry theory, right? Then let's go to okay, Robert, the guy who's not just a bum. I'm sorry, Robert Horry, you're not a bum, but you know what I mean. You were a lottery pick. They expected you to at least be a double guy, or but he just turned out to be a guy that can hit big shots off the bench. John Havlicek, the 8-0. So you look at John Havlicek's career, you start listing off accolades next to Jordan. Now, of course, you're not going to have as many league MVPs, right? But then people will falsely say, hey, John Havlicek was never the man of a champ. No, he was actually the man, or at least the man of one of them. He got 1 Finals MVP in the 70s. So 74 and 76, Boston won with John Havlicek at least being one of the top 2 players on the team, right? And then obviously he was like the 6th man of a few of the 66. But obviously, if we just go by ring count, Jordan is far and away better than Havlicek. But see, now they're trying to knock down the ring count theory to get LeBron. It's like you got to look at everything together. That's why I rank my criteria first. You got to be the better player. Havlicek, while a terrific player, was damn sure a lot more Scotty than he was Jordan. Like you would have never.
I think Havlicek's the greatest player of all time.
Do you? Yeah, he's your GOAT?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why did he have a losing season after Bill Russell retired?
Because he didn't have Magic Johnson.
Yeah, gotcha. I mean, did he have JoJo White? I think JoJo White came in right after Russell and what's the name retired. And Cowens might have came right after that or something like that.
You have Darby
Chris
speaking
Scott
some
at the
Jim
end of
Crow
it.
players and like Tarzan Cooper or Dolph Shays.
What's wrong with those guys? They were fantastic. What about Tom Gola? What about Paul Harrison? What about Neil Johnston?
Paul Harrison definitely gets in there. Pettit.
What What about Jim Pollard, Joe Fulks?
Yeah.
Jumping Joe Folks, the first superstar of the B. Was he in the BAA or CAA?
It's the
BAA or
BAA,
NBL?
BAA. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For he actually was. He averaged 23 when everybody else was averaging in the teens, 24, 20, something like that. And they say he invented the jump shot.
Oh, we can't
I
just
haven't
score
heard that
averages,
one.
right?
That's what I heard. I heard Jumping Joe Folks was the guy that was the first guy leaving his feet off a jump shot. So, again, this is the research that I did as a kid, and obviously I could go into it deeper, but I still got to get over. Because again, Travis, you just debated a team that won 56 games as better than the Bulls, which I respect for you for trying. But then you don't. Again, Magic's worst team was 54 wins and 28 losses, and he missed half of that season.
I don't care. The regular season doesn't mean anything to me because there's so many teams because you coalesce during the playoffs, right? That's where the competition.
That's very true. That's very true.
That's where the intensity blows up visibly. That's where the refs are a lot more lax. Golf, a lot of players phone it in during the regular season to some degree. Like you see players intentionally rest. Not saying that was the case a lot during the 80s and 90s or early 2000s, but regular season, I mean, you win 50-plus games. I mean, whatever. There was a lot of injuries, too. Kobe was injured for a large part of that season. I mean, there was a lot of, the team was still infighting, but they came together at the right time. And Joe, Fisher missed time a lot. And, they came back and, they were unstoppable. And they were going against, I think, what was the best playoff competition of all time. And
that was the strongest argument. That's true.
Real fast. I gotta go to the store. If you guys want to keep talking, I'll leave this on. But if not,
we can end it. Yeah, we go ahead and end it.
Okay.
It's been a while.
All right. Well, thank you, King's Speech. Thank you, Travis. King's Speech. I'm gonna put you backstage. But do you have any last words before we start finishing this up, King's Speech?
Yeah, man, you're going down about Ewing. I've been wanting to get you about Ewing for about a year. You keep sleeping on my man, big fella, the Hoya destroyer. Keep sleeping on him. You're gonna lose. Yeah, you're gonna lose.
All right, you may catch me like Ali in George Foreman versus Ali. You might, but this might be a George Foreman versus Joe Frazier kind of situation too. We'll see.
No. Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll see. I got salute. Have a good one.
Yeah. You too. Bye-bye. Travis, thank you again. I still got the O next to my loss column. You've got a 1 next to yours. I got to start recording this. We should flash. I'll flash it on the screen in the beginning of next episode. What the records are for everyone.
Yes. Yeah. We'll have the brackets, and especially since we have 2 other people debating next week too, right? Supposedly. So, yeah.
Hopefully.
And this is to everyone in the chat too, Wood, Jericho. You guys are welcome to throw out challenges to anyone here. They're all fair game. Any topic you want, and we will debate it. We welcome all comers, and we encourage that so we can grow. And I mean, even if you want to debate somebody else, get them up here, and we'll just judge for you, whatever you want to do. We're going to be the preeminent debate spot, hopefully, be our niche, and it's a wide variety. So we'll do that, and then Dart. If we'll get the scoreboard going. Dart leads us off with 1-0, and book it. 96 Bulls are officially greater than 0-1 Lakers, so we'll put that one to Rex. Rex doesn't have anyone scheduled right now, I don't think. So I'm sure someone calls him out. Maybe him and Nick. Well, I don't know. He'll get back to us.
So I have been using more advanced stats lately. I just do it to support my argument. I'm not really one for really. I think the easy. I think it goes both ways with that. When you start saying, well, his crossover was crisp, he was able to do this. I think it's the same thing as saying advanced stats. I think it's just a claim that, and with the stats, you have some sort of tangibleness to back it up. I don't say because one thing makes somebody greater than the other. I'm saying the ability, quality, and eminence of somebody makes somebody greater than somebody else. So if anything, I'm more going into the Webster's, school of thought, as Travis said. I'm definitely not the Nick Wright. Nick Wright.
Nick Wright. What is does he even debate? I mean, I just heard him say like the most perfunctory crap. Like he'll be like 6-0. Like you want basic crap? That's Nick Wright. I mean, there's zero substance. That's Nick Wright. But I mean, like if we're talking, like here's a criteria. This is what me and Dart completely agree on, is that there's a wild difference between better and greater. Like he's going to debate better next week, and I can't wait to see that. But better and greater is like I think Kobe Bryant was better than LeBron in a lot of ways. I think he had far better footwork. I think his IQ, especially defensively, was higher. I think he was a better leader than LeBron. I think he was obviously a better ISO scorer. A lot of his mechanics were far better than LeBron. It's just but I think LeBron was the greater player for a lot of reasons. But it's because you can't just say, I mean, it's like, how are you ranking these players? Are you using resume? If you want to use the best players ever, that's a completely different list, right? Completely different. So, I think we can have that show too, where we rank the best players of all time. That would be fun. But yeah, the greater is different because I mean, are you going to have Bob Cousy as the best player of all time? Like I think Tracy McGrady's, but I mean but he has a way better resume than 98% of players ever, right? So it's tough.
Yeah. Bob Cousy might be better than Tracy McGrady. That's a interesting one.
He might. Yeah.
I'd have to.
We'll see if Tracy can carry me in the 2K contest, though.
Yeah, I did a little preview. My team versus Rex's.
Did you? Oh,
it did not turn out well for me. No, I got to the game to 11. I think I got beat by 4 points. It was pretty rough.
Yeah. Well, you don't have an answer? Well, I mean, he has like a bigger team than you, right? Like,
oh yeah. No, his team was way bigger than mine. My team got pretty wrecked. Will Chamberlain was bullying Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Even with Jordan and Durant in your team?
Yes. It was bad. Now my guys weren't making threes though, so that's also part of it. Like Steph Curry was missing wide open threes, which was pretty crazy. But
yeah, that's wide open threes. That's nuts.
Yeah. But anyway, all right. Come join us next week where I face off against King Speech Row on who's better, Patrick Ewing or Anthony Davis. It'll be a fantastic debate. Tune in for Travis potentially facing off against CW and possibly the return of Politicus Rex to the debate ring, but potentially against his old rival, NNB Sports. But we'll definitely have the AD versus Patrick Ewing next week. And and like Travis said, come join us. We dare to debate. If you are daring enough to debate, come join us, and we can set the match for you as well. So thank you, everyone, and I hope you have a fantastic day.